Hello everyone. If it's your first time to the channel, welcome, and if it's not, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to continue playtesting in the GD02 meta, this time playing red purple. As you can see, we have the deck list here, and we'll begin. We're playing 5 of the level 2 1 cost weenies. This could go up a little bit. The 2/2s aren't as good this set as they were in GD01 because there's a lot more blockers in the meta. There's times where they can be really good, especially seeing them early, but as you draw them late game, it just kind of, you wish they were something else. So you want to see it early, but you don't want to see too many of them. Then we're playing 4 of the Barbatos first form. It's a great new card that purple received in this set. If it's received any damage when attacking, you can draw one. So if you're able to ping it and they don't have an answer to it, then you can just, if you can ever get 2 cards off this card, you're winning most games. It's just a really good new card for purple. Next, we're playing 4 of the Hyakurin, or the purple Rizal. We're playing it at 4. I would run more if we had more, right? If Rizal was red, I would play 6 of these. The stats are just amazing. We're playing 2 of the guards type Zulu. It's just a nice generic ping that we can play if we need to on curve. Most of the time you don't really want to play it on curve, but if you have to, it's fine. It'll do a damage to something. Ideally, you want to play it off of your Sinanju, right, with your full frontal, and then that way you can swing with Sinanju and then play it, and then you can damage something for 3 damage. So that's just really nice. I'm playing 3 of the baby Kshatriya. I used to play the new event, the one that pings 1 to a bunch of different units if they're not linked. I just found it to be very lackluster. There's a lot of times where you have it in your hand and you just kind of wish it was something else. So I bumped up the number of close combats and the number of Kshatriyas. This could be 4 and 2 here, or vice versa. I do like the extra Kshatriyas just because it links with Merida. It also links with full frontal, and it's playable off of the Sinanju. So it just has a lot of versatility, and like being a 5/6 with full frontal is really good right now. And then the close combats, I really like close combat over Battle of Aces because there's a lot of white blockers in the meta, right? So being able to just kill a Zawart 1 for 1 is really nice. If not, if you're playing against aggro, right, you can just do some damage there, or there's times where you just need it to set up some damage to begin like a nice little combo with like Kshatriya or like Sinanju. Then we're playing 2 Fatal Strikes. This card is really good right now to make your opponent uncomfortable with blocking, is the best way that I can put that, right? So if you go second, or if you go first, and you're able to play a 1-drop, right? Let's say they play an Ilfrith, then you play a purple Roselle, then let's say they play a Zawart. Then on your next turn, you can choose to Fatal Strike the Zawart, and then they're left with an Ilfrith, and now your Hyakurin can swing at the EX base for free, essentially, because if they trade, your Hyakurin survives, and they lost an Ilfrith. So they kind of have to let it go, so you guarantee cracking a base early that way. And then like if you have another one, if you have your first form, or if you have a Kshatriya, then you can play that on 4, and that feels really good. Or if they happen to play a base, right, you can always Rizal or Hyakurin Vesalius, bump up the Hyakurin to 5, and then you can crack a base on 3. So that's also why, well, we hadn't talked about it yet, but that's why I like Vesalius more. This is my preferred red base at the moment. Shuji's hideout just seems, it's good at very specific situations, but a lot of the times like a good opponent can play around it and make it to where you get a little bit of value for it, and you're not the one that's controlling when that happens, your opponent is, right? And so I like Vesalius a little bit more just because it makes you really proactive. If you bump up your weenies, then they can crack an EX base. If they have an Ilfrith and you bump up your first form, right now it trades, and if you trade into an Ilfrith and you drew one, like that puts you so far ahead, right? Bumping up your Hyakurin to 5 so that can crack a base is really good. And then there's just a lot of scenarios where like it just allows for very nice trading. Like if your right? If your fourth form is on the field, you can bump it up to 5, and now it can trade into a rested, you know, or a linked Gundam, or a linked like Merida, or a linked Ale, if none of them have taken damage. So that's just really, really good. Same thing, bumping up Sinanju to 6, or Kshatriya to 6 to clear like the big bases is really, really nice. And so yeah, that is the deck profile. Let's get into some gameplay. Boom, 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 boom. And then I'm gonna begin doing is I'll begin talking a little bit more about what I think about the deck into the meta, and kind of my thoughts. Red purple seems good in the situations where everything's going right. When you're drawing on curve, when you're seeing the pieces you need to see at the right times. I'm going second. I'm gonna keep this. This hand seems terrible. And there's an argument to be made to where I should have molded this because I have 4 bursts, but I do have the 1-drop on turn 1, and then I have Vesalius on turn 3, so I have guaranteed plays for the first 2 turns, and so that's kind of why I'm keeping it. And the Vesalius draws me an extra card, and then now there's a reward, right? Because now on 3 I can play the Vesalius, bump up my guy to 3, and then he can crack the EX base, and then I can play the other 1-drop and not use my resource. That is assuming he doesn't play a base or doesn't play a blocker, right? Just ideal world. He played the 3/3, so this is fine, right? Because I can still bump it up, put it to half health, and then play it. And if he plays, so he's playing red as well. Probably white red if I had to guess, if he's playing the 6 base. It's a little bit more defensive, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised if next turn he plays a blocker, because he's going to 3/3, right? And so on the turn after, I can fatal strike whatever blocker he played, bump up my guy again so I could crack the base, and then go through for life. He doesn't. He plays the Haman and then the Graza. Okay, so either way, I don't have another unit. So I'm going to kill this one. I don't want to use my EX resource. I can use my EX resource and I can kill both, but it just doesn't really seem worth it at the moment to use it yet. If I draw into a Kshatriya the turn after, then I'll have wished that I still had it. And so we'll just keep it like this for now, because one of these still survives for the most part, right? If he can kill here, and then, I mean, unless he links, then this one survives and get another attack. Although a Mikazuki there, okay, we have decisions to make, because if he plays the first form, fatal striking the first form would be really nice. It doesn't matter, actually. I don't need to fatal strike because I have close combat. Close combat, even if he links to Mikazuki and then pings it, it stays at 2 health, so then I can always just close combat it. And so either works. And I can't close combat the Graza C. I'm okay with this. Kind of. Yeah, that's fine. The blocker, I can't get rid of the blocker. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play my own blocker, but I'm gonna bump it up. That way, if he decides to trade with it, then it just trades, right? And then I can play my blocker and not have to ping it. But if he decides not to, then I can always just still just ping, ping my blocker and then ping it. And so if he tries to trade back into it, at least he dies. I will say this Airmaster is quite nice for purple. just as like a generic card. Because he's playing red purple, I don't want to put this down to just one and just give him a an easy ping. This way he has to at least ping it too. And if he battle evases here, he still needs one extra ping on top of it. He's playing in action. Now this is where our hand is starting to lose potency, if you will, and that was just keeping the 2 Maritas. But if at any point we draw into a Kshatriya, then this hand automatically becomes quite good. Honestly, even a Sinanju. If we draw a Sinanju next turn, actually that would be quite nice. And then the turn after, we can put a Marita on it so we get time maneuver. We can start swinging at shields and pinging things. And then using close combat to finish anything else off that he plays. Okay, he plays a first form. We knew he probably had that. He does have the Mikazuki. He swings at the base. I'm just going to let him do that, honestly. I don't want to trade the blocker. He doesn't clear the base yet, so it's just... And then he lets this survive at the moment. And so this just trades nicely into either one, and then I can close combat the other one. I think he was trying to bait here so that then he could swing, he could play the Mikazuki on it and get the draw, and then it survive. He has to ping itself. Which means I'm not gonna block. I'm just gonna let the Vesalius go. And then on my turn, I'm just gonna double close combat and then play the 1-drop. I don't love this play on his part. But leaving first form against red by itself is really, when he knows I play close combat, is also not an amazing play. But it's just because essentially, what are you doing, right? You're getting in one swing, which he swung at a cracked, at a damaged base, so it wasn't really like a swing. And then it's essentially just cycling your Mikazuki. So you use your Mikazuki and you draw one. If it draws you into something better than a Mikazuki, that's nice, but... Right? I feel like there's better times where you can use a Mikazuki. And we get the Kshatriya? Do I need to use the Kshatriya? If I use the Kshatriya, I can't clear both. I can only clear one. And so I think I would just rather just use the close combats now. Yeah, this is fine. And yeah, that's fine. That's just fine. Because next turn I have the Kshatriya and the Marita anyway as well. If there was a way for me to clear both, then I would have done this, but I didn't love the fact that I couldn't clear both. Him having the Battle of Aces for my my Gujian really hurt though. I will say. He's at 6. He does have a lot of cards in hand though. Is the thing. So this game is while I'm in the lead at the moment, this is not oh, if he plays the first form, if he has a Mikazuki, then he's not as punished. But if he doesn't have the Mikazuki here, then now Kshatriya is just so punishing. And this is why we saved it, right? So we could find a better play. And so now, well, we've drawn three Maritas, which isn't great, but now this here just feels really nice because we can push for game. We clear the base and we clear the first form. And he doesn't have anything that can stop this. Because he's playing red purple, like at most he could have like what with Iron and Blood, which he doesn't have a blocker, so it doesn't do much for him. Unless this is a base, this is game. Come on. Okay. And yeah, and that's game.
For this one, our opponent's deciding who goes first. He decides to go first, which makes me believe that he's playing aggro. And yeah, we're definitely gonna mulligan a hand with 4 bursts. I don't love this hand, but I don't hate it if it is aggro. If it's not aggro, then it does get slightly worse, but it's okay. We'll navigate through it. Especially if we draw a 1-drop here. We don't. Base is alright. Picking up the Marita is really nice. I'm just gonna pass. I want to see what he does. Because if he plays a first form, I would rather first form or close combat the first form. And then next turn we can still play the base and the baby Kshatriya. I don't want to link it to the Marita because the turn after I can link it to the Kshatriya. It doesn't matter to me that he cracks this base, because the EX base, because I'm gonna play the base this coming turn anyway. Although now that he's done this, I do think it's worth to play this Kshatriya with the Marita, because I can clear both. And then if he wants to answer it, he has to do 3 ping to it still. He could have had with Iron and Blood there and then traded both, but I would be okay with that because I would essentially get 3 cards for 2. And then next turn, now we have options. Right now I don't have to play the Kshatriya. I can play the Rebake, and then that way I get 2 pings. If he has triple ping, that would really suck. He doesn't. But I can get rid of this because I have the close combat. So this will attack and crack the base. So you play an action. I don't really want to waste the resource yet. I'm just gonna play the base, see what we get. Is this worth it? I think it is. I think it is. I'm just gonna go ahead and close combat this. In case he has a pilot or decides to put a pilot on it, then at least we get rid of it now. And then we can still play the Rebake next turn. We can play the Kshatriya. A Gundam Amuro hurts. But we do have the Rebake, which makes it to where the Gundam can't attack next turn at least. So that buys us a little bit of time. At least it saves our base for 1 more turn. Yeah, because we can only ping it to... Yeah, I mean, I think we just play here. And then pass. If we draw a full frontal, that will feel really nice. Linking, swinging here, and then being able to do like an additional damage. If he swings, I will trade. Yeah, we will definitely take that trade. He shouldn't have swung there. He should have let it heal and then just saved it for next turn, because we do have the Mikazuki as well. Well, that's not the reason, but just the trade is really nice for us. We're at 6, which is a little awkward, but that's fine. We're just gonna play here, give this high maneuver, and for another turn, and then pass. And then next turn we have 4 ping worth of damage next turn, because we have high maneuver here, and then these 2 will ping. Which gets rid of most things in his deck. It doesn't get rid of a Link, obviously, and it doesn't get rid of a Rebake, but like any first forms, any of the 1 cost, the Hyakurins, the Angshas, etc. All of that go, and then we establish a blocker. Show is such a good card. I will say, draw power is the reason why this deck isn't as competitive as it could be, because you don't really have like the defense to long term to sustain against like blue purple or blue green if they get a really aggressive start. I'm not sure what this one is for. We can clear the blocker here. Is that what we want to do? Probably. It's a 3-4. This is a 3-3. This is a 2-2. But I think we're starting to turn the corner of this game. I mean, it didn't matter if he swung this or not, right? Because I have high maneuver. The 1 damage is definitely influential here because now this can also trade into it. And I don't want to ping my blocker now that I have this guy that I can kind of use as fodder and pass. He has to get rid of here. Does he have double ping? I'm still gonna block. If he had double ping, he wouldn't have wasted a swing here. And so I'm gonna force him to trade this into it. Yeah, and that's really good value for us. Plays a Gundam and passes. And our play is pretty simple. We're just gonna go wide. And that's a perfect top deck because we're at 8 resources, right? And so we can just go really wide. I'm not gonna swing with this. It keeps the gun tank honest. And I mean, he gets a free clear here anyway. I don't want him to get rid of this one because I'm going to trade one of the Rozelles into the Gundam. Honestly, I don't even have to. I have potential lethal on board if he doesn't have any bases. I'm okay with this. It's pretty risky to go for game. So I'm just going to make the favorable trades for me while I can. I guess I could have killed here, but because he's playing ping, I guess I could force him to have the ping. But if he gets a base out of shields, then I want the Kshatriya for the base. And if he bursts an Argama and rests one of the like if I swung with one of the resells, what is this? Just deal 2 damage to a level 3 or lower. Okay, so this is the only option he has. If he got an Argama and I had swung with one of the Hyakurins, then he rests the other Hyakurin, and I wouldn't have been able to trade into the Gundam. And I'm pretty ahead at this point, and so I don't want to say it didn't matter which way I did it, but just definitely removing any potential threats. is not a bad choice. And then here, yeah, because he can't even trade into, he can't kill anything. I mean, he can trade into the Rizel, but I do get to block one of them. And then if he trades, I mean, he can trade into either one of these. But I think that's just guaranteed math for us now, because even if this is a last life base and we still have the Kshatriya. And if we swung this into the Gundam, then the two weenies could have taken this out, and then we wouldn't have game if this was a base. So, which it is. Yeah, because this wouldn't be on the board anymore. Let me think about this. This wouldn't be on the board anymore, but I guess the Rebake and the Rizel would. So I guess ultimately it's probably the same thing. But playing against a ping deck, I just didn't want him to get rid of the Kshatriya for easy value. And it all worked out in the end. Alright. And that is a GG to my opponent. Alright, and for our final thoughts, the deck definitely has some legs, right? Red Purple got a big boost between the first form, the Rebake, right? The Awakened Power. This set, it got some nice tools that you can use to help you against some of the blocker meta, and a little bit. Ping's always been pretty good against aggro. The issue is you don't have a lot of inherent draw power. Like, your first form is your only real form of draw power, and it's very situational. And so like it's really good when it works, but when you don't have the setup for it, like if you don't have a Mikazuki or a Rebake, then the deck just doesn't have a lot of draw power, and then you're just kind of hoping to draw things when you need them, which is why you kind of fall behind against like blue white, where they have like shows and overflowing affections, right, to cycle. Green white that just cycles into really big boys, and so those are kind of the issues with the deck. I think this is a pretty good little mid-range version though, of having like your guys to go wide, and then your fatal strikes to get rid of like the crucial blockers, and then be able to push in that extra little bit of aggro, and then clean up with like your Kshatriyas and your Sinanjus and stuff whenever you your opponent trades into you. And so if you can start being the aggressor and continue to snowball that, I think that's where this deck really shines. And so that is all for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that you have an amazing day.